Ole Miss fans need a hotel for the game weekend? Many OTAs keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you still get your loyalty points, receive direct confirmation from the hotel, and you support Rebel Grove. Visit fanplans.com/Rebel Grove today.
Welcome to another edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. I'm Neil McCready. Greg Jones of LB's Meat Market with us here today. Campbell McCready of Zen Studios in Fayetteville back with us after missing a week. Her sister Caroline filled in last week. Campbell was a little under the weather. We're taping this on a Tuesday afternoon, a little bit early. Campbell's got to get to her final week of CAIO initiation for the young bucks that she recruited as the recruitment chair. So we're not going to hold her up too terribly long, but we got to get to picks, and we'll do all that in a second. Greg, Oxford was absolutely packed last weekend. I got a feeling you guys were slammed. You're probably in a little bit of recovery mode right now.
Yeah, I'm still recovering. I don't think I'll ever recover from that weekend. If it could be like that weekend every weekend, But I knew a bunch of friends were coming to Kentucky, and I knew it was going to be a big weekend, but I didn't realize it was going to be that big. But it was. I think we ended up having 130 people on Friday, so that's a pretty large number to walk in the door, and just very thankful for everything, and word gets out whenever you sell the goods. So and I'm very that's how it happens.
You guys absolutely sell the goods. It's the freshest cuts of beef, chicken, pork, house-made sausages, the fresh fish coming in every Thursday, the stuffed jalapenos, the stuffed mushrooms, the bacon wrapped asparagus. There's so many other things I'm leaving out, but it is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, keep it in mind if you're coming up for the Auburn game. It's another 11 a.m. kick. So you've got the Friday night, and you've got Saturday night to watch the games, that kind of thing. Make LB's a part of your weekend. We'll talk next week about hours and things like that. But keep that in mind if you don't live in Oxford, you're heading up for the Auburn game on the 15th. Make sure you keep LB's in mind. 2008 University Avenue in Oxford, across the street from Kroger. Just use Kroger as a landmark. You don't need to go in. Just go to LB's. You'll be happy you did. Big difference. All right, Greg, Campbell, we'll get to the picks. Greg, you had a 5-5 week. You're treading water. It wasn't bad. Campbell, you owe your sister a word of thanks. She went 6-4. She added a game to what is now your 4-game lead. Campbell, you are 27-26 for the season. Greg is 23-30. Still a lot of football left, a lot of picks to be made, but maybe a little bit of pressure starting to apply to Mr. Jones here. So speaking of pressure, we'll jump right in. Campbell, your Arkansas Razorbacks head to Mississippi. They head to Starkville, feeling some pressure after losing back-to-back games. They lost to Texas A&M, and then gave Alabama a little bit of a scare, but couldn't finish that off. Arkansas is the line we're going to use is a 6-point underdog at Mississippi State.
I got to go with Arkansas, obviously. Last weekend, I watched the game on Dixon, which was really fun. And then, of course, I went home because I was like, this is pointless to watch. And then when I got home, that's when we started. It was in the third quarter. So I Ubered back, and then we lost. So it was a pointless trip back, but it was still fun. So I'm going to go with Arkansas.
All right, Greg, she's going to stick with her Razorbacks, as you might expect. Arkansas going to get 6 points. You're going to lay them in Starkville?
I'm going to go with Mississippi State. I went with State once, and I got to get some money back, so I got to make some ground up on her. So I'm gonna roll with State on this one.
Okay, that game is 11 a.m. on SEC Network. The 11 a.m. ESPN game, Tennessee heads to LSU. The Vols, Greg, are a 4-point favorite in Baton Rouge.
I like Tennessee here. I think they're playing some good football, and I know it seems like LSU might be getting it put together, but I don't know. I think Tennessee's the better team.
Campbell, Greg is going to take Tennessee and lay 4 points on the road in Tiger Stadium. What do you think?
I'm going to go with LSU. I picked LSU. I'm pretty sure it worked for me the week, and they were at home, and I picked them just because they were at home. So I'm going to stick with that.
It's never a terrible pick to go with the Tigers in Tiger Stadium. They're different there for sure. Two teams that will be in the SEC down the road meet in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. It's Texas and Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. Campbell, Texas is a 4-point favorite against the Sooners. This is an 11 a.m. game on ABC.
I'll go with Texas. I don't really have a reason.
Oh, a little surprised there. All right, she's going to go with Texas, Greg, and lay 4 points against OU.
No, she didn't like the Oklahoma trip or
Yeah,
trip. So that's
sure.
probably what that angle is. I was just helping her out on that bit. Well, I've never been to Oklahoma, so I'll take them.
The science on this show is just amazing.
Well, I mean, we've already,
It's clearly working for me.
I mean,
so y'all can laugh, but
I mean, I wish Dance Mom's angle would come out a little bit more.
mhm.
All right, Greg. Back into the SEC for a minute. I got these out of order a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Missouri is at Florida. The Tigers scared Georgia to death last week in Columbia. Now they go to Gainesville. This is an 11 a.m. game on ESPNU. Missouri is a 10-point underdog. I'm
going to take Missouri here. I like, that seems like they might have turned around something or found something. And, they did look good against the number 1 team. So I'll take points on the road. All right, Campbell, Greg's going to take Missouri and get 10 points in Gainesville. What do you think?
I'll go with Florida. I feel like Greg and I are disagreeing on all of them. So
it does feel that way. All right. A college game.
Sounds like a presidential debate that we're already on,
Just disagree on everything.
It's not the last week of the year. It's literally, it's midweek. We're going after each other.
TCU is in Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas has won 7 of its last 19 games as a program, 5 of those in a row this year. College game day will be in Lawrence. Kansas now ranked 19th in the country. The Horned Frogs ranked 17th. TCU, whose turn is it? Is it Campbell's turn? I think that's right. TCU, Campbell, is a 5-point favorite at Kansas.
I'll go with Kansas.
Oh, wow. Wow. Campbell's going to go with the Cinderella Jayhawks. She's all dressed up. She's thinking about that glass slipper, I guess. Greg, what do you think? TCU?
It's a good pick. I mean, it's a good pick. They are playing some good football, and there is a little buzz in Lawrence. So I don't know, man. TCU looked really good against Oklahoma, and I don't know if Oklahoma's bad. But with that being said, I'm going to go with TCU. I'm going to, keep the flow of this show going, to where we're just going to keep going on the opposite sides, and somebody's going to come out looking really, really good. But I just, whatever happens, I hope they end up looking like her, with our all dressed up. She's ready to get on out of here.
All right, we got another one. I'll be interested whether we can find a disagreement here. Auburn is at Georgia. The Bulldogs fall to number 2 in the country. This game's at 2:30 Central on CBS. Greg, Auburn is a 28-point underdog between the hedges.
Wow, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. With it being the SEC game like that, I just think that's too many points. I'm going to take Auburn.
All right, Campbell, the question here is not do you think Georgia's going to win? The question here is do you think Georgia can win by more than 28 points against Auburn?
Well, I'm going to pick Georgia because I never pick Auburn, and I feel like it usually works for me, right? I don't really go keep track.
It's definitely over 500%.
Yeah, you've lost some, but I think you've won more than you've lost with just going against Auburn. Auburn is 9-10 in their last 19 games as a program. So you've picked a good time to kind of sell on the Tigers.
Yeah. So okay. Well, I'm going to pick Georgia.
Okay. I bet you're both on the same side of this one. Ole Miss coming off that dramatic win over Kentucky and Oxford. They hit the road to go to Nashville. They play Vanderbilt. The Rebels now ranked 9th in the country. It's a 3 p.m. game on SEC Network. Campbell, Ole Miss is a 19-point favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ole Miss for this one.
All right, Greg, she's going to take the Rebels without even a moment's hesitation and lay 19 points. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ole Miss, got some momentum, and that was a really good game last weekend, and I just think there's a lot of momentum on the Ole Miss side, and I think they can easily win by 3 touchdowns.
All right, I skipped a 2:30 game that I want to get to because we always pick the nationally ranked teams when they play each other. 11th ranked Utah, Greg, is at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena to play 18th ranked UCLA. This game is a 2:30 game. You can see it on Fox. Utah, Greg, is a 3-point favorite.
Man, I know UCLA thumped Washington the other day, and they did look pretty good. I like Utah. I'm going to go Utah. I'm going to take Utah here.
All right, Campbell. He's going to take Utah. He's going to lay 3 points at UCLA. You took a campus visit, sort of, to UCLA. What do you think?
Well, I think last year I didn't pick UCLA because I didn't like going to visit LA. So I'm going to go with Utah.
All right. So we're both going with Utah. We got 2 SEC games to get to. We'll do that in a moment. First, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with a challenge in life, but when you learn how to find your own solutions, there's no better feeling. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I've used therapy as a way to handle stress, clear negative thoughts. It was a life changer for me. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp's a great option. It's convenient, it's accessible, affordable, it's entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. Switch therapist anytime you'd like. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/MPW today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/MPW. All right, Campbell, back to the SEC. Kentucky coming off of that emotional loss in Oxford to Ole Miss. They played a very good game against Ole Miss. Ole Miss just was a little better. They are at home entertaining South Carolina. This game's a 6:30 Central Time start on the SEC network. South Carolina is a 10.5-point underdog.
I'll go with Kentucky. I don't really have a reason.
Really?
I guess the family angle, the blue angle. I like the color blue, I guess, now.
It was a fantastic uniform game for Ole Miss and Kentucky. Those were 2 great uniforms going against each other. It was fantastic. It was really, really good. All right, Greg, she's going to take Kentucky and she's going to take Kentucky and lay the 10.5 points. What do you think?
I like Kentucky here too. I mean, I think they're a good football team, and they're a couple turnovers away from being undefeated. And so I think they're definitely 2 touchdown favorite, 2 touchdown better than South Carolina. So I'm going to go Kentucky.
All right, so you're both going to take the Wildcats at home. All right, one final game. This was a game back in the spring that started getting a bunch of attention because Jimbo Fisher just unloaded on Nick Saban. He said all sorts of things about the Alabama coach after Saban basically said that Texas A&M bought their entire freshman class. Jimbo Fisher pushed back. CBS jumped on this and said, "Ooh, we're going to get this hot game. We're going to put it in prime time." And you know the rest. Texas A&M's a mess right now. They just got blown out by Mississippi State. They head to Alabama, which is back to being number 1 in the country after the win in Fayetteville. This is a 7:00 game, Greg, on CBS. Texas A&M is a 20-point underdog in Tuscaloosa.
I just think that if Alabama's going to get on them, they're not going to stop. I don't think there's any going to show no mercy here. So I'd take Alabama first half, first quarter. The game, if you can get a live bet, I think I'd go as high as 35 points on this. But I think Saban's really going to hammer him on this one.
All right, Campbell, Greg's going to take Alabama. He's going to lay the 20 points. What about you?
I'm going to do the same. I always pick Alabama.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think this has just blowout written all over it. These are.
And what's Jimbo's buyout? What's that official number?
It's in the 80 some odd millions. It is a ton of money, and yet there are whispers that people are talking.
Can you imagine getting paid not to do a job? That's awesome.
That much money? No, I can't. I mean, if I could, Carson, I've told him you need to figure out a way to become a fired football coach. That's the path to prosperity and happiness.
Oh yeah, happy birthday to Carson! I was expecting Carson on the show. I was like, since so yeah,
it's kind of Carson's turn. Yeah, he'll fill in the next time maybe.
Good.
All right, we're gonna wrap there. First, Greg, tell the people how they can get in touch with you guys at LB's Meat Market this week, and if they're starting to think about getting ahead for the Auburn game, how they can place an order.
Yeah, always call the store at 662-259-2999. We do have social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. Whenever I post something on Instagram, the link, picture of our TV dinners, our fresh fish, our lane train special deals, or anything, it links to the Facebook page. So, always communicate with us by calling us on the phone, because it's easy for us to, communicate on that. So, with that being said, just call us and we'll get you taken care of on that.
Okay, great. Again, it's 2008 University Avenue in Oxford. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's absolutely fantastic. Once you start going to LB's, you won't want to go anywhere else. We'll be back next week with another week of picks. We'll get you ready for a slate that includes Ole Miss entertaining Auburn. There's a bunch of Alabama and Tennessee, a big game in Knoxville. So we'll talk about all of those games and probably some other ones as well on the next edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. For Greg Jones, for Campbell McCready, I'm Neil McCready. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you again soon.